Hey my friends, for this video, I want you to start by listening to this arrangement before
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free.
and after.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free.
Now what if I told you that this transformation was done without any synths and without any complex production tricks? In fact, it was achieved using just one of the 3 powerful mixing techniques I'm about to show you, all made possible with Cubase's built-in modulators. These techniques will help you bring your drums to life, add movements to your guitars and synths, and make your vocals sound dreamy and captivating. So stick around and I'll show you how to achieve all of this in Cubase. The first modulator mixing hack that I'm going to show you is going to allow you to take a drum loop and give it a little bit more life, make it move a little bit more, but at the same time, keep it tight. And this is something that is extremely hard to do because if you want to add, let's say, a little bit of EQing, a little bit of saturation, you end up applying this blanket process throughout your drums. But with the trick that I'm about to show you, you will be able to make your drums even more dynamic instead of making them more dull. So let me show you. I have this drum loop right here. And let's say I want to add a little bit more life to it. I want to make it a bit more sparkly, and maybe I want to add a little bit more oomph to the snare and the kick drum. So let me show you what I'm doing. I'm going to open my channel settings right here. And you will see I have my EQ deactivated right now. I'm going to activate it right now. And you will see I have these curves right here. So I've added a little bit of low end and a little bit of top end. And I added a little bit of a bump to the snare. And this is great, but this doesn't necessarily give me a bit more movement because these bands are static. So what I'm doing here is I am adding a modulator to these bands. I've set it up right here, as you can see. And this is an envelope follower modulator. I'm going to show you how I set this up. I'm going to do this on band 3, and then I'm going to show you what I'm automating right there. So I'm going to right click on this control. I'm going to go to modulators and add a new modulator. And in this case, I want to use the envelope follower modulation. And that's because I'm going to use the transients of my drums to move this EQ gain. So I'm going to add the envelope follower, and this is the envelope follower that was created. Let's have a listen. And you will see that the band here moves in terms of gain according to the level of my transients. So what I can do straight away is I can go and make sure that the release is a little bit faster because I want to give this loop a little bit of movement. See, if I make it slow, it's gonna stay up there. I don't want this. And the next thing I want to do is play a little bit with the threshold and the gain so that I only have the effect when we have the peak of the transients. Now, how much gain is going to be applied? I can detect it from the modulation depth. So this is pretty much what I've done here. So check it out. So you will see that the modulator doesn't just apply the EQ, it adds the EQ in a dynamic way according to my values, according to the values that I've set. And see how much tighter it sounds, but still we get a lot of punch. Now the next thing that I'm doing here is I'm adding also tape saturation. But again, I'm not adding this tape saturation throughout the track. I'm using the tape saturation when we have those peaks so that I can enhance those attacks and those transients. And you can see this is right here where we have drive. All I did was right-clicked and then set it to my envelope follower modulation. And now I want you to listen to the difference when it comes to tightness and movement when I enable and disable the modulators. So you see the version without the modulator sounds a little bit more flat, and the version with the modulator sounds like it's a little bit more staccato, it's a little bit more punchy, it has more tightness to it. So when you add these processes and triggering them with an envelope follower with the modulators, this can give you a lot of movement to your drums. Try it out and I promise you this will bring your drums to life. Hack number 2 that you can use with the modulators is make your synths wide and even add wah-wah to your guitars and synths. Let me show you. I have this synth right here. And one of the things that I really like to do is add a chorus effect. You can see right here, I bring it up. And I'm using the studio chorus effect that has 2 stages. And what I'm doing with the modulators in this case, I'm using an LFO modulator that's pretty slow. And this modulates the rate. So that means that we get a very organic sound that evolves and it's never the same. And this is not the same like adding the chorus and having this value static. Have a listen. When I remove the modulators, it still sounds like a nice chorus, but when you add the modulators, the LFO modulator, it does make it swirl and change and progress. So again, the way that I did this is I went here to my effects, I brought up the modulators, I clicked on the plus, and this way you can add a new modulator. In this case, I just added an LFO. And then all you need to do is click on the parameter that you want to control. Let's try the width, for example. And this is how you set up your modulators. Now, let me show you how you can use this technique to create a wah-wah effect. So what I've done here is I've added the wah-wah effect that you can find in Cubase, and I'm modulating the pedal control with an LFO modulator. Check it out. So as you can see, you can use an LFO modulator to create wah-wah effects effortlessly. And of course, it goes without saying that you can have this in hertz, which is loads of fun. You can change the shape, you can change the phase, which is something that I do many times. And this is all possible by using the LFO modulator with some modulation effects in Cubase. And hack number 3 is the example that I showed you at the very beginning of the video, and I'm going to show you how you can achieve this. So again, we have this arrangement here without the modulators.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free. You trying to hit me up.
And now with the modulators.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free. You trying to hit me up, but it ain't the same. No.
You might have thought that, okay, what is that? Is it a synth? Is it reverbs? Let me show you how we created this pumping effect that modulates and that lifts up all these beautiful layers when we have this gap between the vocal phrases. So what I'm doing with the vocal, let's have a listen.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free. You trying to hit.
So what I have here is I have the shimmer reverb that you can find in Cubase, and I'm modulating the mix parameter with an LFO. And of course, again, if you want to assign a parameter to an LFO modulator or any other modulator, all you need to do is right click and go to modulators, add a modulator. And for example, if I want to, I can go and add another LFO modulator right here. So this is what I've done right here. And as you can see, we have an LFO that moves this mix parameter up and down. And what I've done here is I've set it to a bar length. So as you can see, I have 1 bar. And then I've changed the phase, and I'll show you why I've changed the phase.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free.
You can see I have this nice pumping effect. Now, if I had the phase at 0, which is the default, this would sound like this.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free.
So when I need this effect to come in, which is the gap between the phrases, it actually disappears. So I just flipped the phase and I went 180, and now it sounds exactly how I want to.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free. You tryna hit me up, but it ain't the same.
Now, I'm using the vocal to also automate another shimmer reverb, and this is my retrolog right here. Let's listen to the retrolog. And what I'm doing here is I'm doing something slightly different. So instead of having an LFO automating the mix, I have an envelope follower modulator that takes a sidechain input from the vocals, so when the vocals start kicking in, the mix control goes down. And when the vocals pause, then we're getting more reverb. So check it out with the vocals.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free. You tryna hit me up, but it ain't the same. Now it is clear to me.
And of course, if I want, I can make my default mix higher like this and have the modulation depth in a negative value, of course, because we want it to go down.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free.
And I can fine-tune the amount of modulation that's going to happen. The only difference for this scenario is that the modulation depth has to be in negative values because we want this slider to go down instead of up.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free. You tryna hit me up, but it ain't the same. Now it is clear to me.
And of course, you can still play with the release if you want to. For this specific example, I would actually make the release a little bit slower.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't.
It sounds like we've added layers and layers of synths, reverbs, but it's really just clever automation using the modulators. And there you have it, 3 modulator mixing hacks you can start using in your productions right now. Have fun producing, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Cubase Secrets. Bye-bye.
I don't even hear when you call my name. My time ain't cheap, this ain't for free. You tryna hit me up, but it ain't the same. Now it is clear to me. I don't even hear when you call my name.